There we go. It says we live right there.
Yes, sir. What's up, y'all? Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. We have Jeremy Scippio, my co-host, along with Mr. The elusive, reclusive Mocha Mocha Only. You know what I'm saying?
What up?
Yeah, man. I'm glad that you're down to be a part of this, man. I've been a fan.
Most definitely. I just cut you off. Look at that.
No, we good.
Right off the top of the show, cutting the host off. And I just want to say I was watching some of the previous ones, man, and enjoying that. I like the one with Parrish.
Oh yeah.
I'm just such a huge EPMD fan and a fan of what he does. Period, like as a solo artist too. I was a latecomer to the Parrish solo stuff. Like when I say latecomer, like I ignored it when it came out. I actually didn't buy his debut solo album until this past year.
Wow.
Nah, he's a good dude, man.
I know, but I was the Eric Sermon guy. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's funny because when you think of EPMD, it's kind of like I don't know if Eric Sermon went first, like in the songs or whatever it was, but for whatever reason, it was a group, but like even myself, I had to catch myself and say, well, dang, I remember Eric Sermon's, even when I'm saying Parrish's rhymes, like if I'm listening to a song, my head is thinking Eric Sermon's face.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
same here.
Anyway, I say all that just to say that like once I absorbed his solo material, I was like, man, I can't believe I've been missing out on that, man. Like that album's been life to me all year. The goddamn, what was the solo album called? The Shady Business.
Yeah, Shady Business. Yeah.
Like the styles are just so bugged out, man, and just I don't know. He definitely sounded like he had some chips on his shoulder, and I just like how it comes off.
You know what? He's not a horn tutor, but he's like, he was responsible for quite a bit of kind of like the hip hop stuff that we know and some of the artists. Some of the artists that we know.
I think he was. Wasn't he the one that like basically stepped to DOS effects and was like, all right, like from what I read and remember in the history, I think it was like he approached them, even though he was there with Eric.
Yeah, no, he said them. He said, and then the crazy thing is like where he's from is kind of like, and it made all the sense when he broke down his in the interview, like where he's from in New York. That's where Rakim is from. That's where De La Soul is from. That's where
Leaders of the New School.
Prince Paul, and then I was like, dang, that is like a different kind of New York hip hop. It's almost kind of like, I can't even put a word to it, and I'm not going to degrade it by putting words to it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I think that's a perfect jump off point for like where I came from. It was a similar thing, man, because I didn't even grow up in Vancouver. I grew up on Vancouver Island in the city of Victoria. And back in the beginning of the 90s, I already been doing my rap thing or whatever, trying to get on. And I always identified with the Long Island groups. KMD too.
Okay.
Just because, they're from, a more suburban area. It wasn't like the downtown. I looked at them kind of like the underdogs. It came from like a little bit of a different head space or physical space, you know what I'm saying? I identified with that. It made me feel a little more courageous in trying to pursue this thing coming from where I was, you know what I'm saying? Because at that point, even if you talk about Canada alone, there wasn't really much popping except for Maestro Fresh West, Mishi Me, and they're from the East Coast. They're out of Toronto, right? Yeah. So I didn't have like, besides them, like all respect to them, I know them too, like the good people, and I highly respect them, but I didn't have like Canadian heroes to look up to, or to have hookups to try to pull me up, or you know what I'm saying. Me and my boy Prevail, like we was just, it was just us in the fucking bushes. You know what I'm saying?
I can't even remember. Only thing I remember about Victoria is we had a customs agent when I was coming across, and she was just giving me a hard time when like everybody else we flew in, and so everybody else they had moved along, but she was just giving me a problem, and I ended up missing the plane. Like I didn't get on the plane that everybody else got on when they flew over to the island. And I just remember Victoria being an island, and it was a college. I think we did a show at a college town, in a college town or something like that. But I remember flying over water to get there. So I take it where you were was pretty much it didn't have too much urban.
Not really. I mean, the city was urban. It had some grit to it, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Itself, but it's a small city, you know what I mean? And I like that. I liked representing that when I, before I moved to Vancouver in 1992.
Okay.
But I was speaking of Victoria, man, what year was it that you were like managing for Pharcyde, that you started?
Okay, so the management stuff started like around 99-ish, but I started going out with them like 97. Like,
right.
So, yeah, so 97 I started.
Because I actually did a show with y'all in like 97 in Victoria. I remember I went over to do a show. Yeah.
Okay, so that was like my first time. So my first time out with them was Europe, but in that year, I remember that because I remember we were on a boat. We caught a ferry. We caught on that particular run. We caught a ferry somewhere. But
I remember that show. It was at like a curling arena or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it's a blur, man. I would be.
Well, see, that one sticks out in my mind because I had met Romai briefly, like prior to that, so it was cool to be on the same bill. You know, I was just trying to come up and stuff, so it was good to be associated with.
You know what? It's so funny.
And I think Derek was gone already at that point.
He was. Trey was there for what you're talking about. Trey was. Yeah, Trey was there. But I'll tell you something funny about that. So we were driving around, and there was this. I don't know if he was the promoter or someone the promoter hired to drive us around. But this guy was driving us around, and he was a white guy, and he was bumping. We were in maybe like a. I don't want to say it was an MPV, but it was like a passenger van, but it wasn't like the big van. It was the smaller vans. So he had all the rap, hell of a turned up, and he's hitting corners and stuff. And then the police got behind him. And when the police pulled him over, he's like, "Yes, sir. No, yes, sir." And so it was the funniest thing ever to us. And we did a show last year in. Man, it wasn't Bellingham. Sheesh. It wasn't Bellingham, but it was somewhere in Wash. It was like up, like not in Canada, but it was up that way, like maybe 2 hours away or something like that. And the guy showed up at the show, and he was
I can only think it would have either been Seattle or Bellingham because there's not really much else.
It wasn't Bellingham. It could have been Seattle. It could have been Seattle because it wasn't Bellingham.
Or
like
Olympia or something like that,
Yeah, all those.
There's all these little Washington towns that you can actually do shows in now that you couldn't before, you know what I'm saying?
The crazy thing about it is it's kind of like there's parts of the United States like Washington that are so close to Canada that they're almost like Canadian, but on this side of the border,
No, I feel you, and I've always thought that in reverse though too, but it's more like what the land is like in the Northwest here, you know what I'm saying? Like it looks the fucking same. All the cities have almost the same type of architecture, and culturally there's not really much difference. Vancouver and surrounding areas is like physically separated from the rest of Canada by the mountains. And, you know, if you speak to Canadians, anywhere east of the Rockies or whatever, it's almost like Vancouver's like an afterthought. They don't even think of us as like mainstream Canada. We're like a gray area. And being a border city too, like we're right at the border's 15 minutes away, you know what I mean?
And I will say this, man, y'all got one of the coldest borders ever, man. It's just like no love. I've seen
no love. Not any.
Hey man, we've been on tours where we had to let people off before we got to the border. Some where they had to just get a hotel and just wait, you know, rough it out until we got back. And then we've had some that they got out and then they drove across, but because we were on a bus, you know, they gonna give a bus the business. You know what I'm saying? At least when we were going, they give it the business. But if somebody tried to drive across where maybe there was two girls driving and one and two guys in the back or something like that, they really not sweating the passenger, or at the time they weren't sweating passenger cars.
At the time, yeah, we'll say at the time.
Things different now.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, we had a guitar player one time. He had a DUI that was 6 years old, and
that's a no-go there.
Oh, they sweated him, and we had to pay like $600, and he got an attitude with him, and they weren't gonna let him in. I had to chill this dude out and tell him to let me take care of this.
I think that's like a 7-year ban right there in British. I think DUI is 7 years, or 7 years, or like give us some loot.
No,
I'm always like skeptical about that. Like, where does the loot really go? Who's really getting it, man? The border is such a no man's land on both sides, man. You gotta play Mr. Straight. You know what I mean? You just have.
But see, if you got it like that, you could do what West Side Connection did, which I won't say who had issues, but I knew a promoter who was booking the West Side Connection back when they were, doing their thing. And you can get what's called, I think I want to say it's a governor's letter. And it's basically where whoever is in Canada puts up a bond. And it's not like a big bond. Maybe it's like $10,000 or something. And they say that they're going to accept responsibility for this person from the moment that they touch Canadian soil to the moment they leave. And the bond is like the first thing, and then if they do mess up or get into some problems, then it's more stuff that follows with that. But yeah, the governor's letter. I never had to get a governor's letter for anybody though.
So wait, real quick. So if you get a DUI, like say if you just have one on your record here, they won't let you into Canada.
They might not
at a certain time. Like there's a limitations thing on it.
Yeah, it depends on if they want to mess with you or not. Like,
it depends if they want to mess with you. That's the bottom line, really.
Wow.
So I was gonna say, like, I have so many border stories, but they're, maybe I won't talk about that because they're, some of it was some sneaky stuff. But I'll say this, man. I used to have all type of problems, but once I started doing it like official and just getting my paperwork or whatever, like visas and all that, I never had any problems again, for the most part.
Okay.
I also started dressing different, and that really helps at the border.
Oh man,
not like this.
You'd be surprised, man. It's crazy.
Oh man. So we had when I knew how cold Canada was, when I had missed that flight, the customs, we had a dude, shout out, maybe rest in peace to OG Matt the Scarf. He was he taught me a lot about tour management too. He was a guy who we used to go out with when we were in Europe, but he would call the customs people customers. And so when I got held back and they made me miss the flight, let me tell you how cold the customers were that was dealing with me in this couple. So it was like a Eastern Asian descent couple that were trying to, we were both walking up, showing our papers, passports, whatever, trying to get on. And so they had sat me down and was like, okay, you just need to wait. Because they saw, I was like, man, I need to get with my, people. I'm responsible for, well, they weren't feeling it. They weren't going for that. So the Eastern Asian couple, they told the husband to come up, and they basically was talking about, okay, so you've been married before. Is she aware that you've been married before? like
Damn.
On everything. On everything. So
ratted them out. Wow.
Just to let you know the temperature of the customs people in Canada. You know what I'm saying? Just on some, and it's crazy because it's kind of like, I don't know if it's that they don't like American people or if it's the government that they don't care for, the reason they give us a hard time. Now
it's just the border, man. It's not really on the country. It's just them vetting. That's it. And they feel like they have this authority or whatever. They take the job seriously. It's like that on both sides of the border.
I'll tell you what my good experience was. We were coming back from Canada. And we always dread coming back because we're like, man, we're gonna have to go through the customs. It's just always a thing. But peep this, a neighbor that I had here where I live right now. I've lived where I live right now forever. But a neighbor, he was a customs agent, and they actually moved him to Canada, and so you had Americans customers that were, for whatever reason, on the way going back, they were on the Canadian side and they did your
immigration. That's the pre-clearance. Because I have the Amtrak station just down the way here, and they actually do the U.S. pre-clearance customs in Canada, in BC, before you even leave.
Yeah,
and so that at the airport too. So they have U.S. customs, but they'll be on Canadian soil doing it.
Yeah. So where does the name Mocha Only come from?
I was a nickname. I have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? like all nicknames, all the nicknames that stay and stick seem to be like similar stories. Like, it's your friends, and they come up with some goofy name to call you, and before you know it, you can't escape it. And then you're like, oh, well, fuck it. That's my stage name, I guess. So that was the same thing. When I was young, like I got hella into coffee and coffee flavored ice cream and all this. And my homeboy we were at a Baskin Robbins, and I was eating the Jamocha ice cream. He's like, we should just call you Jamocha. Huh, Jamocha? I'm like, oh, no. And we had a crew, and they all that was it. That set it up, and I hated it. Well, I didn't hate it because it felt, it's your friends coming up with something for you. So it's like a love-hate kind of thing. You're like, all right, that's a corny nickname, but I'll deal with it because you're getting attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But soon enough, the people that were calling me that, they just dropped the JA and it was just Mocha, and like Mocha 1. And also, like, it's doing me, like, I'm biracial, right? So there's, the mix, the blend of the milk and the chocolate or whatever. So there's that angle too. But it was Mocha 1 for a long time, like 1990 through 92 or 3. And then I changed the suffix part to Only, because everybody at that time on underground rappers seemed to be coming out emulating the graffiti writers by putting a 1 behind them. And that's where I got the 1 from. And also like KRS-One, like, I mean, he's a graffiti writer. That was his past too, right? But I seen everybody else doing it, and I wanted to have it mean the same thing but stand apart. So I put in Only, and that stuck. I was already stuck with the nickname Mocha, so I may as well, I was like, let me elaborate on it. So that's where the name comes from.
The funny thing about that is I know of somebody who had I know him. Well, I met him, but I have a friend that knows a guy who had like a coffee obsession, and like he would just talk about coffee, like just talk about coffee. So
I like that. Thank you.
No, but I'm saying that's to your homeboys. You probably was on coffee like that. You know what I'm saying?
I was.
You never see who you are. It's the people that are around you that see who you are, and they're like,
they turn a caricature. They accentuate like all your quirky points, and you become that.
Yeah. So at what age did you realize that you wanted to rap?
I mean, the first raps I probably ever did, it was just me messing around because I had heard Run DMC and obviously, you know, Furious 5, among others. And just toying around at recess in grade school, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to freestyle or whatever. But I would say by 86 and 87, it was pretty much stuck in my mind that I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do entertaining, like in some capacity, some sort of artist, whether I be a singer or a painter or something like that. But I would say I started to actually write the raps down and try to formulate styles at least like late 86 or 87. So I was 12 or 13. Yeah, I think I was 12 in 86. Yeah, that's right. I don't know, man. That was it. That was what cemented it was in grade school, like at recess, like I mentioned, the kids would bring boxes to school. I went to a weird school too. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, and I'm not even Catholic. I went to a Catholic school for just a few years, and that's where I met kids who were into hip hop at that point. And you know, think about it, like we were so young too. It's wild that they even had this foresight to like choose something that was outside of the mainstream at the time to be interested in, whether it was graffiti and breakdancing and all that. But it just made such a huge impact. And seeing movies like Beat Street, you know what I'm saying? I was like, you just couldn't mess with it, man. Like, I was like, this is it. I just know this is it. But I don't think I was even 100% sure until I really absorbed like KRS-One's first album.
Oh, well,
Boogie Down Production, BDP.
Yeah.
That was like a real wake up for me, and especially the Jungle Brothers first album. That was like, oh no, this is it. I'm definitely doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because they came from such a different perspective with the Afrocentrism. Not only that, but just like the musical styling was so different. That spoke to me. I was the weird kid that already was a jazz kid. Like I listened to jazz music. So when you had groups like that, the Native Tongue started coming out in the late 80s. That was what cemented it. I was like, I know I can do this. Especially by the time De La Soul came out in '89, I was like, oh man, I thought I was weird. Okay, this is cool. This is fun. And I gotta bring up a point. You know, speaking of De La Soul, out of all the many interviews they've done over the years, I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually address the content in their earlier work. Like nobody ever says, what were you guys talking about? Because if you go back and listen to that, it's so encoded and cryptic. I still don't know what half of it. I don't even know what they're saying. You can barely rap along to some of the stuff, you know. And all respect to De La, it's not a diss or nothing, but it's just like they was really bugged out, man. And nobody ever seems to bring that up in interviews. They're like, by the way, guys, what were you ever rapping about?
we got you next time.
But anyway, yeah, that when De La was out, I was like, okay, this is it. I know I can do this, and especially then from being, you know, removed from the core hip hop scene in New York, man, that spoke to me.
Mm-hmm. How is the Canadian hip hop scene different from the U.S.? Or is there any?
It's kind of like I mentioned before we started. It's like I have a hard time speaking for the rest of Canada because I'm sure it was an entirely different thing. I can speak from my area, and it was small. It was small, and I liked that. I really enjoyed the fact that it felt almost like this exclusive club. You could pick out a hip hopper on the street just based on what they were wearing, and this is prior to, you know, a Carl Kanai and like gear like that. You know what I'm saying? Cross colors or whatever. This even Cats was creative with their ensemble, so it was like an identifying hallmark of, oh, look at that cat. That cat, let's go talk to that cat. That cat looks like he knows rap music or whatever. Anyway, it was such a small scene that it was very easy to come out and be like, yeah, I'm King Kong of this. You know what I'm saying? Even when I didn't have the skills to quite back it up. It was cool feeling like a big fish in a small pond. And, you know, even though when you're young like that, you just get these complexes and think you're greater than you are, but that's just part of growing up. You know,
nah, the kitty cat looking in the mirror, seeing the lion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, man. When I look back, it's like how I carried myself in the 90s. Like, oh, it's cringeworthy, man. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, it's all grow. Tell me this.
But I want to finish what Jeremy asked is just like the scene it was small. There was enough going on to where, you know, there are open mic nights, like hip hop nights at the local clubs and stuff, and especially in Vancouver as opposed to Victoria, because it wasn't really popping like that in Victoria at first. But there was enough going on where you could make some noise, and the general public who did end up at these functions, you know, as you remember in the 90s, before hip hop was really mainstream, there was such a curiosity from mainstream American culture that wanted to know what this magic was, this rapping, this, especially with the freestyling, like coming off the head, you know what I mean? So the scene grew quickly. It really did. But at first it was really like a secret club. And it's almost like that again within particular realms of hip hop now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, I mean,
it's reverted in a lot of ways with the cats that sort of maintain a traditionalist approach to their stuff. Well, I don't know if you want to call it traditionalist or just like
purist,
old and stuck in our ways. I hate the whole purist concept. Like, I don't like it, but I adhere to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a snob about it, but I just don't have interest in the new generation's music.
Vietnam,
the same way they don't have a lot of interest in my generation too, and it's always been like that. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna share something with you. So I was where you're at one time. I was really there, and I was talking to one of my DJ, and I was there probably until about 2 years ago, or about a year and a half ago. So, you know, I was there for a long time. So I was talking to one of my DJ buddies who DJs with this, you know, he does a lot of online stuff, cool little network, whatever. And then he does a lot of gigs too. Like he's in the mix. Like even with the COVID stuff, he's hell of a doing Twitches and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we were Brown has a shop, store 2 for 2, and we would do pop-up shops there. So I had reached out to him and asked him to come and DJ one of the pop-ups. So while we were talking, I said, man, you know, you're around all these young cats, you're in the mix, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, how do you, coming from what you and I came from, how does this other stuff resonate with you? And he said, well,
it does. Surprisingly, you understand it, right? You may not love it like texturally or sonically or whatever, but you get it. You get it, right?
Yeah. Well, what he said was, he said, you're not listening to it the right way. And I was like, what do you mean? And he says, well, with our music, you may have a dope MC and you may have a dope beat. He said, with this new music, you may either have a dope beat, or you have a dope MC, or you might have a hook. And so instead of listening to it the way that you listen to like the music, like the older music where you're looking for everything in it, you may be lucky enough to just have one, and you just got to kind of rock with that. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny, man, but there's truth to that. And another thing I'll say about the new generation with how their approach to hip hop it's more of like it's really just, it's like a mood thing, you know what I mean? Like that's why they can get away with
very emotional
enunciating or anything like that, because it's really about vibe, and that vibe is basically fuck the world. Yeah. It's like it's like a nihilist approach, you know what I mean? Like it's just like the world is burning,
a lot of drug ballads.
Turn up, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of drug ballads and like slow songs about pain and emotions and stuff.
Pain. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Like for my generation, it was 40s. So that was like the thing. So it was like 40s, the late 80s, coming into the 90s. And by the time the 90 came around, it was weed. Like that, you know, that was the thing. So you're thinking
a 40 and a blunt, that's all she really wants.
So you're thinking, okay, a blunt, a 40. And then you got
boots.
Yeah. And then you got these youngsters right now, and man, they're smoking. I'm getting to that. They're smoking herb that's so much stronger than the herb was around when we were younger. They're not drinking 40s. They're drinking Ciroc. They're drinking Fireball. They're drinking,
syrup.
Yep, they're drinking syrup. Like you said, the perks. They on the perks. They on the pills. You know what I'm saying? It's the crack babies, baby. So they're going through chemically. They're going through something that's just totally, totally different. But I will say this, man. I'm not racist, but I'll say prejudiced. And by saying prejudice, I mean prejudging somebody by the way they look. Like for me, I prejudged what's his name? Just about to say his name.
Give me a little something. Post Malone, that's your guy.
You got
like
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's your guy.
Post Malone. Yeah. So looking
I don't consider him a rapper though.
You said, huh?
I don't consider him a rapper.
Nah, he's dope, man. He's dope.
He could. Huh?
He's a rapper, man. He's a rapper. You gotta.
So name one of his rap songs.
I don't know. I can't name any of his songs, but I know the songs that he makes.
He don't make rap songs. He makes drug ballads based on like singing. I mean, I like
his melodies.
It's hip hop, man. It's hip. I was
Ray J is hip hop, and he ain't a rapper.
I was where you are, Jeremy. I was where you are, Mocha.
Hey, let me add on though. It's like, all right, I might not like it, but I really feel that I do understand it because I've been around, and had openers at shows that are on that, and I soak up the energy. How could you not? You definitely grow to understand it. You don't have to love it, but you can still have a respect for it. When one of these guys has a big win, I celebrate that. I think that's great. You know what I'm saying? I can't say anything bad about somebody who's being successful and at least using their talent to get there. But at the same time, let me just like what I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm old now. I've earned the right to. I'm, you know what I'm saying?
So Pete, back to my prejudice, and it has nothing to do with skin color or nothing like that, but I would just look at Post Malone and I'd see this guy face kind of puffy, looking like he drank all night, smoking a square, stepping off a private airplane, and I was like, what does this guy do that everybody's just they're just on him? Like, what does he do? And we were doing some shows and we were driving, and I think we had Sirius in the car. And I have Sirius, but I'm like a creature of habit. I stick to certain little stations or whatever. So we weren't listening to Sirius. We were listening to whatever Seattle's hot station was or something like that, like the popular radio station. And so all these songs are coming on, and with the cars now, you can see the person's artist name. Yeah, you can see the artist. Yeah, exactly. And Post Malone, it was just like 3 songs in a row, Post Malone. And I was like, man, he makes good songs. They're not necessarily for me, but for me, I can tell if a song is good, and it doesn't have to be for me. But or let's say this, I can tell a song that the general public can appreciate, even if I don't appreciate it. Like my hate doesn't go so far where I'm just like, oh, no one will care. And so I start listening to his music. I'm not to the point of where I would purchase any of it unless I just, heard something that just seriously moved me. But I understood the appreciation that people have for the cat. I was like, man, he's that dude. Like he is that, like he's
90% of this market you're talking about as far as the artist. I mean, it's really based on a look more than anything, though.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
With him, it's not look. Okay, if you were to say
initially,
Yes,
I think it really was.
Yes, it is. He got tattoos all over his face. He switched genres completely. He's just like a
I'm not trying to guess too, but it's like he just looked like he smells bad, and I think that's like one of his selling points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
we need to pull up a file on Mocha in 1990 when fools was super hip hop and we wore big old t-shirts and big baggy jeans.
I'm aware, man. I know the history I came from, man, and that shit was funny then. I look back at it, I'm like, wow, why is I wearing size?
But 40? It was all of us though. That was just where we were. You know what I'm saying? I'm not singling you out. I'm just saying hip hop.
I agree.
De La Soul, they,
I was
big clothes,
cats, man, for real.
Big clothes. But
I had the beads and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, Native Tongues was powerful, man. I'll say this before I go on with the interview. To speak to KRS-One. Now, right now, I eat whatever's in front of me. You know what I'm saying? But there was a time when I was a vegetarian. Dude, I was a vegetarian for a very long time. When I heard edutainment, I went out preaching the gospel, man. I was on Fools. I was like, if you're eating McDonald's fries, they got beef in it. I was that guy.
I think a lot of us went through
McDonald's fries.
A lot of us went through that. In fact, there was a short time where me and my boy Prevail, we used to go to McDonald's when we got on this vegetarian tip, and we would order a Big Mac without meat. And the scary thing is, it tastes exactly like a Big Mac still.
Yeah, they put the smell in the food. The smell is already there.
We were just basically eating like a grilled cheese sandwich, if you think about it, with lettuce. But that's where we were at, and we was going around preaching that the same thing. Oh, you shouldn't eat that, but meanwhile, like you get real hungry and you sneak in sausages or whatever.
Oh man, yeah, it was, yeah. So tell me this: if you had to, no, that's further along.
Guys, real quick before you continue, hold on. I just want to see. That look like some Post Malone wear, right?
God,
that likes
what
it.
Is that?
Yo, I think I seen Post Malone wearing that though. I don't know.
Stop it! Don't hate on him, man. I was there, man. Don't be me, man.
No, man, that was tight.
That's
man.
The funny thing. It's like
Penny Hardaway.
Back, like your history's there. It's like for everybody to see your different phases you went through. It's there forever on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that photograph. I remember taking that photograph.
Oh, that was Moga?
Yeah, he got the Penny Hardaway.
He said that's
you got the Anthony Hardaway. Yeah. That was hard back then.
Hey man, we've evolved, man. All of it was hard, man.
Well, the scary thing is that photograph isn't even that long ago. I think that was 2004. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That wasn't that long ago?
No.
Yo.
We need you in the van when we out doing shows and we have these conversations while we driving. We need you there, Mocha, man, because you Mocha's more like me, man. I'll say something like that. That was like 2004.
That wasn't long ago, man. That was like
that was a good year for me too. Yeah, you don't want to know
like
how
that era felt like the last stand, you know what I'm saying? Like the last Mohicans, like where this shit's about to go in all kind of directions, and you could feel it back then. I swear, it's like the internet was blowing up, and it's like, oh, you just cats are just downloading my shit for free. Wow, okay. Well, at least I still have concerts and you know all this. At least there's still records in the record store. I'll be all right, you know. But it was like man, that 2004, 2005, that was dangerous grounds. Hip hop was on dangerous grounds then.
Hey, I'll tell you.
The industry.
I'll tell you 2002 going into 2003. I went out to Midam in France in Cannes.
Yeah, I've been to that thing before too.
And so I went there to deliver an album to these German cats who basically we did something where we hooked up a deal in Germany, and then we got that to kind of get the album started, and then we finished it off in the States, and then we did when you could do release it throughout territories.
Yeah, that I missed that era, man. Be like, yo, I'm gonna do something strictly for Australia or Japan or whatever, you know.
Hey, man, yeah, with the internet,
like song?
Nah, you could do
albums, whole albums.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you could like charge a good amount of money, and then go do like an exclusive tour for that album in that territory.
iTunes killed hip hop, man. iTunes and all this, but to my point, Spotify. all of it was the knife in Chucky's hand going like this. So when I was in Germany, matter of fact, I mean not Germany. When I was in I'm going all over the globe. When I was in Cannes, when I was at Midam, I met this cat from Canada, and we were having dinner because it was like, you know, we all kind of came by ourselves, and then you just kind of click up with people, and then that's kind of who you roll with for the, you know, the days or whatever. So I met this cat, and we were having dinner, and he was like, "Yeah, so you know the CD is about to be obsolete, right?" I'm like, "CD is about to be obsolete?" I'm like, "What you talking about?" He's like, you know, they're about to come out with this new format, but the format that he was talking about was like it was kind of like a compact disc, but it could take storage on both sides of it.
A little mini disc.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be. That along with that was supposed to be a new format for the general consumer, and it just never panned out that way.
Yeah, it didn't. But I remember him telling me that at dinner. And I've just traveled all these miles solo to hand over this mastered CD to these German cats for this project, and I knew that that's how the Pharcyde was making. Like that was all so you have shows, but you put the music out, and then you follow it with the shows, and it's kind of like you put music out, you follow it with shows. But when the cat told me that the CD was going to be obsolete, I can remember my stomach dropping and me almost getting sick to my stomach. Like, damn, what's going to happen? Like so many people are depending on the CD to, you know, as their livelihoods, you know, in order to get shows and stuff like that. And I say that to the point where we are with this COVID stuff. Everything is evolution, man. Nothing stays the same, and you don't know when it's gonna switch up. Like it just switches up. Like there is no warning. You know, it would be great if you knew some insider trading, or if you have somebody who would whisper down the chain of whatever. But man, the world just evolves when it's ready to evolve, and you just got to kind of grab on to whatever you can grab on to, and kind of.
Yeah,
true. But having said that, though, it's like there's always going to be like a part of your demographic that likes the traditional medium and stuff. Case in point, to this day, every album I drop, I also put out cassette tapes, CDs, and vinyl records. And believe it or not, the cassette tapes are the first thing to sell out every time.
Yeah, collector's items.
I don't understand. Who the hell is buying them, and what do they do with them?
You're not supposed to understand. It's none of your business,
man.
No. Yeah.
Do they
listen to them, or like do they?
They probably frame it. They probably got every one of your stuff, and they like, yo, I gotta frame this.
Now, I think that's cool as hell. I do, but it's astonishing the cassette tapes in this day and age. That's the first physical product that sell out. The company got to press more of them or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So
the CDs still sell too, but they don't sell like they used to, obviously.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into producing?
I was always into that from the very start. In fact, I wanted to be. I always loved rapping when I started, but I equally wanted to be the guy making the music. And when I was, in the infancy of this, before I really understood the dynamic of groups, I thought that all these rappers made their own beats. And in a lot of cases they did, you know what I'm saying? Like Busta Rhymes and Leaders of the New School, or A Plus in Souls of Mischief and Hyro, you know what I'm saying? I mean, all those
OPO too.
Oh, I know OPO for sure. All them cats actually.
He speaks on you with high praises. You know what I'm saying?
I speak on him. He's a great cat, man. I find him a very influential writer. I don't think people give him the credit that he deserves.
Vulture's wisdom.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I feel very fortunate to have done some joints with him, and we actually a couple of years ago talked about doing a full-length project together, and hopefully we'll get around to that at some point. But yeah, for sure. But anyway, going back on what I'm saying, I just assumed that all the rappers made their own beats before I really knew, what everybody's role in the group was, or that the DJ made the beats. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you find out later, it's like, oh, Ali Shaheed Muhammad did not do the beats for A Tribe Called Quest. Q-Tip did the beats or whatever. Anyway, it was pretty early on that I wanted to be the beat maker. I just didn't really have the equipment. I knew other cats with equipment. So what I would do is I had these graphs I would draw out in my rap notebooks, and having found samples, I would arrange them on paper in a special graph that I came up with, like, this one repeats for 2 bars and until this 16 bar block is over. And then I'm going to take this sample from the yada, yada, blah, blah. And this is coming for the hook. And this is where we're going to rap. We're going to rap on this, or we're going to do the hook on this part or whatever. So I would bring these charts, these graphs to whoever was doing the beats for me. So I would actually be producing the beats, choosing the samples and telling them, like in like how a real producer works. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until mid to late 90s where I started being like, oh, well, let me show me how this machine works, and let me just do the beats or whatever, or like we'll co-produce. You know what I mean? I didn't buy my own beat equipment until 1999 because I was tired of going to other cats' places and using their gear, and I'm sure they were tired of me riding all their stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. From the start, I always considered myself a beat maker or a producer or whatever, but it wasn't until 99 where I was like, I'm going to make that more of a focus. And from this point on, I'm going to do all my own beats, with a few exceptions, like the stuff with Jay Dilla and very few other people, Jay Rawls, a lot of Jays, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But I don't know, man. That's just, if I was never to rap again, I'd be fine, man, just doing production work. And plus I probably have like a good 100 albums that have never come out or seen the light of day that are completed too, you know what I'm saying? Googling Airs included.
Speaking on Googling Airs, man, I was almost tempted with this Bluetooth speaker that I was telling you about earlier. I was almost tempted to bump some Googling Airs, man. I'm gonna tell you something about Googling Airs. That shit get me so hyped sometimes.
What is the Googling Airs?
No, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. That the Googling Airs get me so hyped sometimes. I just want to put that shit online, like on an Instagram post or something. Be like, fool, I'm privy. You don't even know. You know what I'm saying? I got some bump right here. So anyway, the Googling Airs is we'll let Mocha break it down.
Oh, I thought you was about to break it down, man.
I'm gonna let the Googling Airs is a group of Mocha Only and Booty Brown, and They're both producing. They're both producing and they're rapping together, but like Mocha will produce some beats, Brown will produce some beats, but the sound of it is like man, I don't, okay, this is what I'll say. It doesn't sound like Tribe Called Quest's first album, like Tribe Called Quest the group, but the feel of like some Tribe, like some Lower End Theory, like that old, and then the way that the MCs are exchanging and bouncing off each other and going back and forth is y'all ain't ready for that, man.
Okay, look. Every time y'all bring up something, I look it up. Not gonna lie, I cannot find this. Am I spelling it wrong? Like Google, like Googling theirs. Like,
this was great. That the name was Brown's idea. He had this concept. He was like, all right, you know, rather than let's just be together in 2-week lots or whatever, let's make it a focal point for the group, a selling point that we do everything through Gmail. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, it'll be fresh. We'll call ourselves the Google and Errors. I thought it was so bugged out. I said, okay, that's cool. And it's a crazy name. And also, I think he was telling me that the word Google and Error means like an infinite number that you can't count to or something like.
Google,
Googleian or some shit like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, that shit is hard. That shit is hard.
Brown's idea, but I like the fact that it's very traditional in its approach, and it neither sounds like the Pharcyde or Mocha Only, like solo. It's somewhere.
Oh no, it's different. It's something totally different. Put it this way, Google and Airs is something that if I'm having a meeting with somebody and they're in my car and they have something to do with the music industry, but our meeting might not be Pharcyde or business or anything like that. It might be something totally different. That's something I know I could throw in and turn on and not say nothing.
Yeah, just be like, that's the best approach. Let it speak for itself.
Yeah, they'll be like, what's up with this? I'm like, oh man, you ain't even knowing. Yeah, it's a couple well-known rappers and well-known actors that I've dropped it on that have been like, okay, this is
You're like, when is it? We don't know.
Yeah, nah, I say I'm gonna cast a spell and say it's gonna be 2021. You know what I'm saying? 2020, we done everything we could do in 2020. You know what I'm saying?
There's one more month left, man. You never know.
2020 is a wrap. 2020 is a wrap.
We hope.
At what age did you think you were like the hardest rapper ever?
Let me think about
now.
This. Man, I mean, because like I was touching on before, it was like, you know, when you're young and doing it and you have your circle around you giving you praise, you start to really, you just like, my shit smells like strawberries, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But, and so later you realize it never smelled like strawberries at that starting point. But I would say where I became my most cocky was probably in the mid 90s, 1995, 1996. And I had a real tough time trying to find record companies that would even entertain putting out my weird ass stuff. So I took a book out of the Bay Area tradition and started just pressing up my own stuff and selling it on the streets and like traveling and like literally cold selling it on people on the street. Oh, you like hip hop? You know, you've seen it before. Like Venice Beach or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Hey man.
But I'm just saying, you know what? That worked. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be anywhere, you know what I'm saying? And not to say like I'm real underground as it is. Like I'm like a little hip hop secret as it is. I never really did get my chance to blow as a solo artist, you know what I'm saying? Pause. But
yo, he just paused.
but I would say that mid 90s era where I started putting out my own tapes and selling them on the street and being like, oh, this is official. But fuck waiting for a record company. This is my debut album. Here it is. It's called Up Coast Relics or whatever. I got super cocky. I thought I was God's gift to rap at that point. I was willing to battle just about anybody I came across. And I think that phase lasted a good 5 years, to like the sort of disillusioned artist that think he's way better than you. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say this, it never got me to a point where I really got in a jam or got into any real funk with anybody over it. I seem to be able to deliver myself in a manner where people were like, "Oh, I guess he is that good." You know,
hell yeah.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like Fife said, if I don't say I'm the best, tell me who the hell will. Like that's where you come from. At a certain point in your artistic growth, you got to start believing in yourself tenfold in order to keep the momentum. I really feel that.
I opened for Dave Chappelle back in 2016. I remember, you know, I still do. Hold on this pedestal, whatever. He had a series of shows at this place called Hotel Cafe in Hollywood, and like all these big comics was coming through, right? And like there's no shade to this person. I respect him very highly, but they would just keep bringing up comics, keep bringing up comics, right? When he brought Arsenio Hall up, and Arsenio did such a lukewarm performance, I was like, oh, I can do better than that. Yeah, well, man, I had an opportunity because, you know, everybody kicking at the Comedy Store, like, you know, just a few days later. As soon as I got with him one-on-one, I was like, yo, man, I want to do one of your shows, man. You know what I mean? And he just was like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And the day came and I crushed it. But yeah, that's what gave me the courage, was just like, I saw Arsenio do that set. I was like, come on, man. If that's what this passing, then I got this.
Yeah.
When I was younger then.
Oh man, that's wild, dude. Seriously. That must have been like a real fucking moment for you too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of miniature moments that stack up to you know, that's one thing I'm very fortunate in the comic community. It's very tight. You know what I'm saying? Well, it was. It's not anymore because of the COVID. But you know, like we all would we would all interact with each other, you know, pretty frequently in these places, you know, of varying levels. And you know, because of that, I've been able to meet every one of my, like, you know, idols growing up, for the most part, you know, the ones that are alive at least.
Yeah, I get that, man. I've had similar fortunes too, man, to where like internally I geek out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe I'm actually friends with this person or whatever. You know what I mean? The funny thing you mentioned about that story reminds me of a similar thing. I hope I don't lose my train of thought, but you know, seeing somebody and seeing them realizing that they're human and they're, you know what I'm saying, whether they have flaws or they rip it, you know what I'm saying? Greg, you might be interested in this one too. In 1993, the Pharcyde came to Vancouver for performing, you know, promoting a Bizarre Ride. And I decided to go check out the show because that's what I was doing back then. I would check out the rapper show and see if I could get any inspiration, like, oh, maybe I could do something like that on my stage show, get some tips or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Meet them or not meet them. It didn't really matter. It was just about, let me see how good they really are. Well, Pharcyde came, I went that night, and I still had like a little 9-to-5 job on the side. You know, occasionally I would take on something, you know, like washing dishes or whatever, crummy thing, just to get a little scratch, because I never really wanted to do anything else but music. Anyway, I went to the Pharcyde show and I seen them, and they seemed more human than any other rap show that I'd seen. I was like, okay, they're good, but they're just like me. They just seem like regular ass dudes. Even before the performance, they were out on the dance floor just dancing and with everybody else. And I watched this show and I was so inspired by the energy and the belief in themselves. And they did rip it, that I actually quit my job the next day and I never worked another day in my life ever again because of that Pharcyde show. Or that was a contributing factor. So that's inspirational.
Yeah. Hey man, I got a similar confession, man. when Brown had kind of pulled, well, Brown never wanted me to get into the like when it came to me, like leaving my family business job and kind of working with him. What I would do is I would work during the day, and then after I worked, I'd go and meet him at the studio, and we'd strategize and do this, that, and the third. And so, you know, traveling the world was definitely doper than doing what I was doing, you know, at the family business or whatever. And so probably for about 6 months, I told Brown I was working before I had I'd already bounced from the job. I was like, man, because at the time I got my first house. My house note wasn't nothing. Like it was a baby house. House note was like $700 a month. And I was like, man, if you can't make $700 a month and and float, it was a 2-bedroom house, but it was really like a big 1-bedroom apartment. It was like the smallest thing in the world, but it was mine. But yeah, man, the Pharcyde had that effect on me too. I was just like, man, this hip hop stuff. But you know what? It wasn't so much hip hop. It was just kind of being down with somebody that had a vision, because that's a trip. That's kind of how me and Brown, because I knew Imani first. That was like I went to high school and all that. But then me and Brown had went to this. They had these things called Greek shows, and it was when like all the sororities and fraternities would get together, and you know, like school days, kind of big party.
I get the fraternity thing. I'm a member for fraternity myself. I'm a Freemason, right? So there's definitely like similarities.
Yeah. Of course. I think that's what it was based on. I think the Greeks were based on Freemasons.
Yeah, loosely. A lot of those Greek fraternities are loosely based on the Freemasons, just like in the structure of it, how it's run at like a club. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And some of the philosophy behind it too.
Mm-hmm. So we were, so Brown and I were in the car, and like everybody else was kind of like all my homeboys, like that I had kind of grew up with. They were at this one hotel, and they were kind of just like drinking and just going room to room and just doing chaos. And me and Brown just we were in the car, and we were just kind of building, and we had never talked like that before. And we like our minds clicked on a business thing. Like we were like, we weren't worried about running room to room, hotel room, being faded and all that kind of stuff. We weren't even talking about music though, but it was just on a progression of life type of thing or whatever. And I never knew anybody that I really clicked with like that. And that's kind of how our thing kind of became, where like, and we're very different people. Like we don't, like, people would look at us and they'll say like, well, okay, you guys are business partners, or you guys do stuff together, so you must agree on everything, and one person has to be. Nah, we disagree all the time. But that's the thing. You got to have somebody. If I'll quote something from my father. If you got two people that are the same, what do they need each other for? Nah, you need somebody who's strong at one thing.
That's a great quote right there.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's a great, I gotta remember that one. That's tough.
Yeah, nah. And but the thing about it is we respect each other enough that we come together on an idea, and we'll take turns giving each other the lead, and then we just adjust it as it goes. Like, so if it's one of his ideas, and then it's whatever my input was seems like something that would help it and move it, we start out his way, then we adjust it minds, and we go back and forth with it. But a lot of people just have too much ego, man, and it's just very difficult. You know what I'm saying? And when
that's the killer of groups right there.
Oh man, when you build with somebody, like for me, I can pull my ego out of any situation I'll humble myself to the point of where it may even seem like I'm getting stepped on or just whatever. But my thing is this: sometimes you got to let people just be who they are. Like in not anything in particular, but in any business that I do, you know what I'm saying? Like I was watching Gary V, and Gary V, he had an Instagram post, and I related to it so well last week. And he said, you know, sometimes people say, you know, I'm a sucker because I, you know, went to dinner with this person and they were cocky and they were this, that, and the other. And Gary Vee was like, man, I'll let them be cocky because my mind is on getting what I want to get out of them. And if letting them be cocky means I'm going to get what I want to get out the deal, I'm great with it. You know what I'm saying? And so I resonated with that a lot, man.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, it takes a certain amount of growth before you really have to grow before you can reach that level where that cockiness, that ego like diminishes. Because I think I'm there now too, man. I mean, I feel like where I'm at now, I can have the most honest conversations with anybody, and I don't feel I have to put up any pretense. You know what I mean? Like,
you still seem a little cocky though.
What?
No, I'm just messing with you.
Oh, you. Oh,
he's like, man, I've turned it down. He's like, man, I've turned it down.
I'm cocky.
I thought we had a nice moment there, Greg. Seriously, and you had to go chill.
Nah, we good.
But you know what I mean? Like it's just like what you said, man. Yeah, I know that I MC or whatever. I've got like a certain history of material out there, and I'm proud of it. But it really doesn't mean shit to me overall. It's cool. I can enjoy listening to the music that I made because it's inspired by my heroes and all that sort of stuff. Like I can separate myself from it. It's just a thing that I do. It's not totally who I am in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a long time to get to that point, though. Seriously.
I'm gonna take one of Jeremy's questions real quick, so I can bring up to speed. What is Martian Christmas?
Martian Christmas is something I started. It is an annual recurring project that I do every mid-November, December, or whatever is usually when it comes out. And it's a winter themed project. You know, when I did the first one in 2004, and I've been doing it every year subsequently since. And it's nothing really much more than that. It's become a custom, man, to the certain little niche fans that like my more bugged out material. They look forward to this every year, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just a winter themed project. As far as Christmas, it's not a Christmas album, but I might mention something to do with the holidays or Thanksgiving or whatever the case is. But it's something I enjoy doing every single year, man. It's become a custom. It's Mocha Only's Martian Christmas time. Yay, let's go. I don't know what else to break down about it. I would strongly urge anybody checking this interview out. You know, if you never heard it, go check it out. I've been doing it every year since 2004. They're all available on iTunes, or some of them are still available in physical products off the website, herbnet.com/Mocha Only. That's where you get my merch from. But yeah, it's something I enjoy doing every year, man. Now, in being in Vancouver, we don't really get like a harsh winter, like snow's a rarity here.
Oh, so, really?
Well, it's like a Mediterranean climate, right? It's like Seattle. We're only 100 miles away from Seattle, right?
Hold on one second, Mo. Let's spin that record back one more time. I remember it being very cold in Vancouver, man. You talking about Mediterranean?
No, but let me say this though. When you're not accustomed to the Pacific Northwest climate, it's gonna feel cold. It's humid here, and in the winter that translates. If the temperature comes down in the 40s, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks. When you hear it, it doesn't really seem like anything. When you look at the rest of the country, saying like east, and you see the snowstorms they have weekly for months on end. I don't know what that's like, except for when I've traveled through it. I wouldn't want to live in that. You know what I mean? But when I'm putting together Martian Christmas, the Martian project every year, I have to envision like, oh, there's blizzards, and like I try to like think because I want it to feel like I'm at a loss for words here. I want it to be something that the people that live in those conditions can like feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's the wintertime, we can cozy up and get our warm cup of hot cocoa and listen to the Martian Christmas. You know what I mean? I try to paint that picture. And then I go outside and it's sunshine and I'm just wearing a sweater. You know what I mean? I'm not, yeah, it doesn't get very winter here. It may snow on occasion, like there might be a night where, but the next morning you see no trace of it ever happening. You know what I mean? Although they say this winter could actually be a cold winter here, so we'll have to see. If that's the case, I'm not leaving my house.
What determines whether a project is going to be an EP or an album for you?
I don't like EPs, period. I feel like I'm selling the people short by doing an EP. Because I guess the traditionalist part of me wants to give you a whole portrait. I don't want to just give you a few songs that you might listen to once in a while. I want to take you through a journey. That's always my ambition with every project, is to make a collection of songs that I really think feed into each other and play off of each other, that you can listen to as like get a full course meal, so to speak, out of it. EP's not enough for me. Now I'm down with the short album concept. Most of my albums clock out around 35 minutes now. That's just perfect for people that have a low attention span, myself included. I don't want to hear myself do an album for like an hour anymore or whatever, but I'm not really into the EP thing. I might call something an EP, but it's actually an LP, really.
Yeah, that's why I really wonder, like when like the difference. But I feel like it's all kind of similar nowadays, anyway.
Honestly, I've seen people put out what they call EPs, and it's just like 2 songs and then like 2 instrumentals. That's not enough. That's not. I would just rather hold on to that and somehow work it into a project where it feels cohesive among other songs. You know what I mean? Like I said, I want it to be like a book. Like an album to me is like a book. You open it up and you go through the chapters and you get certain feelings, but they have to work with each other. It can't just be, like a master painter painting a portrait. It's got to be things that work with each other. You're not going to paint like a pastoral field setting with mountains behind and then you stick a McDonald's in the bottom corner. Well, maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe that's what you're into, but I'm just saying everything's got to work. There has to be a balance to it. So an album format is super important to me, man. I don't think I'll ever give that up, even if the audience doesn't want that. I'll still be doing it because I have to enjoy it first. Like if I don't love something, it's not coming out. I got to be able to listen to it. Like I listen to my own music more than any other people's music because I'm the only person who knows how to make what I want to hear. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
I can just imagine something and be like, oh man, it'd be really cool to have a song like this. Oh, I'll just make it then. And then make another song like that. And before you know it, there's a project done and I can listen to it. I can be a fan of it. I don't even care if not many people get it. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, it's just, I'm not going to be selling millions, I have to be happy with it. That's the bottom line.
Who are your top 3 MCs? No particular order.
Dylon. No. Yeah. That one missed you?
That was funny, man.
Jeremy got it.
No, come on. I remember him from Puffy's little thing.
Yeah. You know what? The ultimate cat to me has always been Q-Tip, man. To be honest, he's been the absolute propellant behind what I've always tried to achieve.
That MC and producer, or just MC?
Whole project, artist, period. Because he's that type of cat that he's just it's got to be, everything's got to be right, and he's got to be the guy that pushes all the buttons. I'm the same way. So, I'm saying I've definitely put Q-Tip at the top of the list of 3. It's so difficult to make a list of 3 when your rotation of what you listen to changes all the time. But if I think about all-time classics, let me see. I might have to put KRS-One number 2 just because of the influence he had. And Jesus, Murphy, man. I hate lists. Hate them.
Everybody I ask hate him. Hate him.
Yeah, I hate him. Well, I guess I could just say anything because it's slated to change probably any day now, except for Q-Tip's always going to remain at that number 1 position.
That's right.
The funny thing is, like, out of everybody I've ever met, I've never actually met Q-Tip, never had a conversation with him, and no disrespect intended, but I don't care. I don't really have a desire to. I just appreciate his artistry, and I feel like he's been a teacher to me without ever having met him. I just revere his work so much. I don't even think he might not even be the type of person I'd even get along with in person.
That's crazy.
But I don't care. None of that matters, man. He's been a shining beacon, a real example of a true balanced hip hop artist and just artists in general. A real influential, inspirational, aspirational character. And I've got so much thanks. If I ever did talk to him, I'd probably just have to express that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Third MC. You know what? I'm gonna throw in a wild card, man. I might have to say my homeboy Micah 9 from Freestyle Fellowship.
Okay.
Because he's somebody that, you know, I do a lot of work with, and over the years, you know, we toured together and yada yada. But just his approach was so different. I mean, all Freestyle Fellowship and Project Blow Camp, most definitely, but to me, he stood out as a challenger. You know, somebody who he could battle you, he could confuse you, he could amuse you and bemuse you. He could, you know, like he could do it all. Like, he's really has that much talent, and I've always rooted for his successes, and I've taken a considerable amount of inspiration from what he does over the years. So if he's in my third slot, that's fine, man.
You know, I've heard I want to say we were at South by Southwest, and we ran into Talib at the airport when we were landing, and then we happened to be doing a show with him later that night. And I don't know how the subject came up, but we were all riding, and the promoter had a Sprinter van pick us up, and I don't know how the topic got on music, but Talib was like, well, I can be in this kind of mood one day, and then I could be in a Micah 9 mood one day. I think he's one of the dopest rappers in the world.
Wow.
That makes sense, though. I mean, they used to live together, dude. They were roommates.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I never knew that.
Micah had a tenure in New York, let's say, and
okay.
I don't know what led to them meeting or whatever, but to my knowledge, yeah, they were roommates for some time. And I mean, Talib even put him on his last album. Like, that had never happened before. I was actually on the road with Micah when Quali hit him up about, you know, doing this. I think they had just recorded some stuff, and they're going to do a music video together or whatever. So when I was on the road with Mike, he was actually, he took a day off just to shoot a music video. That was only like 2 years ago or something like that. But yeah, that makes sense, man. I mean, if you listen to Talib Kweli's old material, you could probably hear like an influence, like a West Coast, like styly type of influence there. Mm-hmm. I think Micah 9 deserves that slot to be in somebody's greatest MCs of all time list. You know what I mean? There's so many more. I mean, I wish you would come up with a list of 10, because I could go on. Because as I mentioned or alluded to before, Pharcyde is immensely influential on my being, especially, you know, having mentioned that story about, you know, I quit my job and I was like, nah, I gotta just do music. You know, I put that on. A lot of that had to do with, you know, seeing that show and experiencing that music right firsthand. Yeah, if you would give me a list of 10 or 20, 30, 40, 50, you know what I'm saying?
That question always stumps people. We've been going for a minute, but I got
I gotta say though, real quick, the KRS-One thing, I don't even have to give an exemplary answer about that. Like he speaks for itself. I don't really have to break that down. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I didn't. You don't need to. You can just say KRS-One and just leave it at that.
Come on, man. Hey, man, he made me stop eating meat, man. Or let me spin that back. He enlightened me to the point of where I felt meat was evil once upon a time in my life.
Yo, what he say? He said something, no ham, no something, none or cheeseburger.
Or hamburger.
Because to me, that's suicide,
self-murder.
Mm.
Yep. But the 40 plus almost 50 me says, hey man, those are some cool words he's linking up together, and the way he's saying them is kind of dope. But you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get him a foodie on, man.
That's funny.
Hey man, at some point, you know, you gotta realize we don't know how long we're here for, so you better live and enjoy that shit. Enjoy those moments, man. Eat that cheeseburger, man.
So on the last one, where do you see social interaction going in the next 2 years?
I don't think anybody's going to talk anymore in person.
You ain't far off.
Yeah, man. You go out anywhere you go. Like I go out in public and everybody's just stuck like this with a phone in front of the face, walking across the damn street in a crosswalk, not knowing if the light has changed, with the phone right in front of their face, man. You can't look at people the same way no more. It's hard to get their attention. I don't know, man. That's a heavy question, and I don't think there is I don't think I can come up with an answer for that, man. I can hope for the best, you know. It's not just our social climate. It's technology and what it's done to people. You know, this is a real addiction. I swear. You can put
a lot of books predicted this would happen. I read 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 in high school, and it kind of not, of course, not exactly phones, but they had, like they said, mind-numbing television, and people just stare at a blank screen. And here we are. So,
it's scary, man. Mm-hmm. I had this conversation with my homeboy Billy right before this. We went out and grabbed some food, and it was we had the same conversation about you know, people being so distracted and this being an addiction, but the blessings it's brought too, like the knowledge that you can acquire, like you can read and pull up anything. Anybody who's like good enough or good enough at realizing facts from fiction, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I couldn't live without my YouTube. I really couldn't. I need that in my life, man. Like, you know, I can find anything, any music I want, or any craft or art or whatever. Like, it's all there, man. There's always going to be blessings and curses, whatever humanity pursues, it seems. But this thing, I just think is, I don't know how much further it could go, man. People are really, truly addicted to a device. That's wild, man. Like, I think it won't be long before you see some people start to go to AA meetings for like internet addiction, or it probably already happens, or telephone addiction, Instagram addiction, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be seeing courses of treatments probably for it at some point in time.
Dang. Yeah, man, that was pretty deep, man. That was deeper than what I, you know, that was deep. Yeah, I'll say I ask everybody this question, like I'll say for the last, since COVID has jumped off, I've asked everybody that question. I say your answer was probably it was a lot of thought-provoking stuff wrapped up in there. But yeah,
I didn't mean to, man. It's just
no.
That's been on my mind a lot. That's been on my mind. It's like, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen even with the rap industry. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe I got to do something else. Like, I'm always going to be doing music regardless, man. But it's just like, I can't do no concerts or, you know, it's just the way that the internet is flooded. It's like keeping anybody's attention is a real chore, man. I don't even bother. I don't want to be blasting people 24/7 on my social media, telling them about the next thing like over and over again. I just want to put it up there, and I know the people that really like it are going to get it, and hopefully I'll pass it on to other people. But I don't want to live on the internet. I don't like it. I like to live in real life. But the sad thing about it is I'm lonesome, man. Like real life is like the amount of people that I actually talk to, man, it's really dwindled, man. And that scares me for the future, man. I might be a bit of a recluse or whatever, but I need my people still.
Everybody needs interaction. You know what I'm saying? You got anything you want to shout out? Anything you want the people to check out coming up?
No, I just want, well, first, I just want to thank you guys for having me on, man. I appreciate this sincerely. I like to be able to get on and have an honest conversation about music and life in general. And I think that's what it was. It didn't feel like your run-of-the-mill type of interview. And I know that's not what you do. I peep game, you know what I'm saying? So thank you both for that. I appreciate the platform too, you know, cross-promotionally and all that. Yeah, well, I do have, let me do a little plug. Let me plug it in, all right? I have a project that I actually dug out of the vaults from October 2001. Because I have a lot of shit from the vaults, as I was saying before. And just it being fall right now, I was going through a bunch of old material, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time I release some of this old stuff. So I figured I'm going to start to do a time capsule series. So I'm releasing this album I did that I never put out. It's from 2001 in October, and it's called "She Ran Away to Mexico to Join the Circus," which is loosely based on something I was actually seeing this girl at this time, and you know, it was a very short relationship, like just over a month or something. But you know, midway through, she's like, "I'm going to Mexico." Like, well, you just gonna up and move to Mexico? She's like, "Yeah. I'm going on this caravan." I'm like, "Caravan?" She's like, "Yeah, like a circus kind of thing." I'm like, "Word? That's fucking nuts." But all the power to you. She was a nurse, a registered nurse. I think she just threw in the towel on that and just like wanted to live. I don't know if she had been with restrictive parents or not, or what the case. But anyway, around that time, just dealing with that, being in that little relationship, I wrote about it because I will always like take things that are really happening. I like to elaborate and kind of make it sound a little more entertaining. So yeah, that project, "She Ran Away to Mexico to Join the Circus," will be coming out Thursday. I'm just doing it like 2 days from now. Okay. It's a soft release. I'm just doing like iTunes, Bandcamp, Spotify, whatever. I told the label I needed to get something out right now because if I don't put something out for a while, I start to get itchy and I come down with hives and stuff. And, you know, I have incontinence issues and all sorts of things like that, like physical manifestations of my own anxiety due to not putting things out. So I had to slip this out. And then after that, Martian Christmas should be out first week of December. And I'm a few songs in right now. So after we wrap this up, I'm gonna be in the lab cooking.
Grinding.
I have to get Roma on this one again too, man. Because he hasn't been on it. It's been like 4 Martians have gone by without him being on it. So drop that bug in his ear there, Greg.
Oh man, he's there. He don't even he's there. He's there. So you, Jeremy, what's up? You got anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to
plug it up? Plug it in.
Plug it up. I just filmed a comedy special. I guess this is Sunday. So this is the flyer. It's no good anymore, but this is the flyer from. I basically promoted it like I was running for president because we didn't have a president for like 3 days.
And we still don't. If you ask some people,
oh boy, we didn't get into that.
Yeah, exactly. We should.
That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother.
Jeremy, where can we peep the comedy special?
All right, so I'm gonna put it out 2020. I don't know. We ain't finished the editing process, but I have a comedy album I released 2 years ago called "Happens to the Best of Us." You can get that on iTunes, wherever the heck you Google me comedy album, it should pop up. But I'm on Yeah, but I would say the best way to contact me would be on Instagram at Jeremy Comedy. Also, I was looking at this. I was like, I'm gonna check this album out because interesting.
Oh God, that's a single from the '90s.
A single? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, yo, this looks hard.
It's terrible. Don't listen to that one, please.
Don't listen to this one?
Don't listen to that.
All right, fine. I gotta listen to the She Ran Away to Mexico to join the circus. I gotta listen to that then as soon as it come out.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I guess I'll add for people who want to get a hold of me, good luck, because I don't really be checking that often, but at Mocha Only, or no, at Mocha_Only on Instagram or Twitter. It's at Mocha_Only. MOKA_ONLY. You can check the updates. I don't know what you're going to get out of it, but knock yourself out. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, no, man. Thanks, gentlemen, man. I appreciate everybody that tapped in. This was a cool one. Good looking out, Mocha. And then we're going to touch back with you after the Martian Christmas.
What you got coming out next?
Oh, man. I'm just trying to make it day to day, man. You know what I'm saying? Out here with these hyenas and cougars and jaguars and other furry, ferocious, scary looking things.
Well, what's up on the Pharcyde docket then?
You know what, man? Right now, I know Imani's working on a solo project, and you know, man, Brown's always pretty on the undertuck about what he has going, but he probably got some other stuff going on as dope as Googling Airs or, you know, whatever kind of stuff. He got some cool stuff going, man. I put it this way. Man, I just can't wait, man. That's all I can say, man.
Well, let's sew it up, man. Let's sew it up. We'll add a few new songs. We'll shave the shit down and let's get it out. Let's just do it. Enough with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, 2021 is gonna be the year for that, man. Right now, we're just figuring out. I feel like with the whole COVID thing, everybody just kind of started walking upright. We went from Neanderthals walking on all fours, and now we're walking upright, but we really don't know how to walk because we wobbling. Yeah, we wobbling. So when we get our balance and get our equilibrium right, it's gonna be on. But yeah, no, it's some real cool stuff coming in the very near future. And yeah, but matter of fact, I'm gonna hit you in the next couple of days because I got something on the whole other side I need to holler at you about.
Okay, straight.
Yeah, to get that cracking. So thank everybody.